another Wednesday night at 8 p.m. You know what time it is. It is the Relationship Gumbo Podcast Live Edition. And I want to make sure that you guys do what you're supposed to do tonight. You got a couple of tasks. I need you to share and invite your friends and family. This is going to be a good one. We have two amazing guests that I'm going to intro to you in a minute. And we're going to have some fun tonight. We're going to learn some things. We're going to laugh. Some of y'all probably might cry. You never know. So give me about 15 seconds. And I am going to make sure that everything is doing what it's supposed to do. And I'll be right back. So hold on 1 second.
This one for the streets that told me lessons. They told me about the grief and people out here stressing. They told me how the evils wanna keep you from progressing. It's people in your circle wanna keep you from your blessing. No talking to them people when them people come with questions. This mama say no ratting. For them, death is destined. Be careful of the people you invest in.
All right, we are back. And once again, I say welcome. And I'm going to say this one more time. Share and invite. It's going to be a good show. Replay viewers, we love you too. So make sure you come on and put hashtag replay when you come in. So we're going to get into some relationship talk tonight. So what you guys have to know is this is a live podcast recording. So what I'm going to do with the way the show works is I'm going to pause for 3 seconds. I'm going to start the podcast. And when we're finished, I'm going to pause for another 3 seconds and we're going to end the podcast. And then after that, we can speak freely. Feel free to ask questions and comment through the show, and we may add it in if it's pertinent to the topic. But for the most part, the middle part is going to be for audio purposes only, so you'll be like a fly on the wall. So here we go. Stand by. And welcome to another edition of the Relationship Gumbo Podcast. My name is Derek Jones, and I am your host. I am a certified life coach, an engineer, a strategist, and a mental health advocate. And today we have Relationship Talk, the quarantine edition, right? Everybody's cooped up in the house, y'all chilling. We're going to give y'all something to listen to, something to learn from, and something to enjoy. And I have two amazing guests. I'm not even going to spend a lot of time talking about who they are. I'm going to let them tell you who they are. And then we're going to talk about what the one unique thing we all have in common. I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. So I'm going to bring them up one by one. I think that'll be actually, no, I can't do that. I will unmute both of them and I'm going to bring both of them up at the same time and I'll intro them separately, but I'm going to let them tell you who they are. So first we have Miss Latanya Tibbs, aka Miss Unorthodoc. Hey, welcome back, actually, because you've been on the show a couple times. So let everybody know who you are, what you do, and then we're going to get rolling.
Okay, well, hey guys, thank you guys for joining us. I am your girl, Miss Unorthodox, the Nonconformist Healer. I do all wellness, mentally, emotionally, spiritually, and energy for women. Love talking about dating, relationships, but we like to be real, raw, and relevant. So that's what y'all gonna get tonight. So I hope that y'all got y'all choice of beverage, because I do. And just hold on. That's all I'm gonna say. Put your seatbelts on because you get ready to go for a ride.
Uh-oh. And then we also have Mr. Germaine Norman. Tell us a little bit about you, sir, and then we're going to get into it.
Hey, I'm a teacher. I'm a consultant, leadership development, pretty much anything you need in regards to relationships, romantic or otherwise, that's what we do. So I'm glad to be here.
Cool. Welcome, sir. And so just so you guys know, all three of us went to the same high school. Shout out Northwestern High School. And, and you know, we're all friends here. And we want you guys to feel like friends and family too. So we're gonna let Miss Latanya Tibbs, Miss Unorthodoc, she's gonna lead the charge on the first topic, and we just gonna go. We just gonna get it in, and we're gonna talk, have a conversation.
Okay, well, you know what? Since we all are cooped up in the house, and you know, now some of y'all, you know, those couples and those relationships, and also in the marriages, now y'all got to talk to each other. So how I really want to start it off. Let's talk about the big green, pink, purple elephant in the room. Intimacy. Let's talk about intimacy. Because I think a lot of times people have the word intimacy, the definition wrong. There's no way you can have intimacy with another person if you do not first have that into me yourself, period. So What y'all think about that? Let's talk about intimacy.
I'm gonna let Germaine go first. I'm the host.
Well, I think, if I be honest, I think a lot of us struggle with getting beyond the physical aspects of intimacy. So I think a lot of us just see the physical act of sex as the ultimate component of that act, where the emotional, the mental, and the spiritual sometimes gets left on the side. So I think that's the piece where going deeper will help that intimacy go to different heights.
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Yeah. And so real quick before I do mine, one of just housekeeping, one of you guys have your Facebook tab still up. So either mute the computer or bring the tab down, because your IMs are going to pop up and ding. I just heard it. So anyway, so we're going to talk about intimacy. Let me see what my part is. So I think a lot of times people, when we're talking about intimacy and we're especially now, everybody has to be in the house together now. You can't just run down and say, I'm going to happy hour. I think over time, like when you start out in the honeymoon phase, it's all good. And then over time, a lot of cases, you kind of lose that, and schedules get in the way and you separate. And now that you're in the house, you still living separate, even though you're in the same house, because you're so used to being separated all the time, and that's your comfort zone. And then when we talk about being intimate in that space, it's hard for a lot of people because they don't even know how to be that anymore.
Ooh. So there's probably a whole lot of masturbation going on for both people's sides.
Probably. It's some websites being hit up.
Okay, so let's deal with that. Let's dive in that. Okay, so at the end of the day, I think a lot of times we kind of know that it's leading up to that. What's going on with the noticing that that's what's going on and sitting down and talking about? Because okay, so we got that going on, and we putting all this work and everything, and we busy. The next step after you self-pleasure is going to be you with somebody else pleasuring. I think that is an easy exit for cheating. I do. So if we're not going to be in the same house, if we're not going to talk about what's really at hand, you're setting yourself up for failure. You're setting yourself up.
Yeah.
So are we going to talk about it? Or it's going to still be that big green elephant in the room. And there's somebody else on the outside going kind of, fulfill that. I see you twisting and turning, Germaine. Come on.
Yeah, go ahead, get it in.
So the thought that I got is that conversation that you just mentioned. So are you free enough within your relationship to be vulnerable?
Ooh.
Meaning, so like one of the things I've experienced is there's, and I think a lot of people out here may have heard of 5 love languages, right? So yep. I think like wants versus needs. And so I have friends that I've talked to over the years who have had issues in their marriages and relationships. And, compatibility sexually is a thing. Again, if you are a 1 or 2 times a month person and that's good for you, see your face, and then you dealing with somebody.
Well, you just made me sweat.
Take another drink.
This is a real conversation because frequency, it becomes an issue for one of the mates, right? So the question becomes, if you are a low frequency mate and you're dealing with someone who's a high frequency mate, how do you meet in the middle? Because somebody's going to be unsatisfied during that month. And so can we have a conversation about that?
Okay, but here's the thing. So let's take it a step further. Apparently you did something for the high frequency person for the block of time to get them. So where did it drop off?
Let me ask. Can I answer that?
Honest.
Can I answer that?
Off?
Can I ask?
Go ahead. Answer.
Can I get that in? So look, this is what happens with. I try not to talk in absolutes. This is what happens with a lot of people. I talk about this all the time. When you are in a long-term relationship and you're with that person all the time, and you have your disagreements and your arguments, and you don't resolve how those things make you feel, you hold it. And by the time you get to number 200, you're not looking at that sexy person that you fell in love with anymore. You're looking at the embodiment of all of that hurt from all of that contention that you had. And now you don't even want it like you used to, because you're like, you just yelled and cursed at me about taking the trash out yesterday. I think I'm tired today.
Ooh.
And it goes downhill from there.
Oh, yeah.
So I'm going to dip off. Go ahead and get it in, Latanya.
Okay, well, I'm just going to be brutally honest with you. My brothers used to tell me this all the time, and I firmly believe it now that I'm 48. I think I should have been a male, because I'm going to have an attitude. You talking about 2 times a month. I'm cheating. I'm cheating. At the end of the day, I'm cheating. But here's the thing. First of all, I know myself. So I'm probably not going to get with no one that's not on that high level. It's not going to happen. Why? Because that's important to me. But of course, I'm not talking about the ladies who's viewing, because y'all not going to talk about that. I'm talking about myself. That's important to me. So if you someone that, and I do understand, man going out having a hard day, sometimes he come home, he got a lot on his mind, he got to kind of get himself together or whatever the case may be. But I'm into the, what else can I create and where? So personally, when you talked about that, I call it the list. When I work with my clients, I call it the list, because once you have a list, especially for women, you get into that, the neck get to rolling, and you get into that hold back or setback, or I'm not giving none up, or he ain't getting none. All you doing is setting them up for a neighbor or somebody at his job. But anyway, you get into that. And so because your heart is so hurt, you don't see him as attractive. And so, I mean, if you look at it, we're dealing with some child's play. Like, come on, really? When we gonna grow up? That's what children. I feel if you're doing that, you're basically dealing with a female and a male. You're not dealing with a grown ass woman or man. And so if you guys are not in a position where you guys can have that conversation to say how you feel, and I think, once you have that discussion about, and ladies, if you holding something back from 2016, something wrong with you. I'm sorry. Because let it go. Because what that really does, not only does it affect the relationship, it affects your health, because you ain't getting none. You don't really, and although men get kind of cloudy, when they're not involved, women, we jacked up too. Now, we're not going to say we are, but we are. And so personally, I think we need to sit down and look, come with the list. Come with the stuff that I did back in 1970. If you want to take it all the way back there, look, let's sit in the living room with a bottle of something, because we're going to need something, and let's hash it out. And then let's go have sex. I mean, you know that joke gonna be bomb. We already know that. But let's get it out. Because are you going to spend 2020 the same way, holding all the different things that he did? Now you irritated, frustrated, mean, nasty, wicked. Don't nobody want to be around you, not even your children. So come on, let's start being grown adults. Let's have the conversation. Why you mad? Because here's the other thing. A lot of women, I'm sure, can attest to this. But if you don't know this, I'm going to go ahead and forewarn you. If you got some situations or irritations or things that you're holding against your mate, your vagina is not going to get wet. I'm going to drink to that. Carry on.
Okay, so I hear all that, right? So I'm going to run down a couple things, and then let me see y'all reaction to some of these things. So you started off talking about intimacy, right? And you say into me, right? And one of the things that I often hear is in relationships, do you see me? Right? So intimacy could be it doesn't always have to be a sexual thing. It could be a conversation. It could be date night. It could be some common space or some common activity that the two of you do that is just for you. I think one of the greatest mistakes I made in my marriage was that I did not pursue my wife at the time the way I pursued her before we got married. And because of that, and what Derek said this earlier, right? Life happens, right? So when life starts to happen, you get these bills, you get these kids, you have church, you have all these other things that you put on your plate. And you always justify how you could put your mate, well, I'll deal with that tomorrow or next week. And
Exactly.
Drip effect, like the slow drip. And the next thing you know, that slow drip will erode at your whole relationship. And I'll end with this. The conversations, I think a lot of people, you said this the other day on the other podcast, a lot of people don't know how to fight fair. But, so example, and you said this about me. You said, oh, you gained some weight. Well, it is clear that I am not the Germaine from the 90s. Okay. So, you know, and again, I'm happy with this. You know, I gained some weight. Everybody, you know, but relationally speaking, when you grow, the things you need and want change. And sometimes you have to, in your relationship, have that sit down and renegotiate. So some things have to be renegotiated in a relationship, and they're not going to be the same thing they was 10, 15, 20 years ago, because you're a different person. You grew, forward. So these are different things that, like you said, will impede the connectivity. And so when you're not connecting on any level, it makes intimacy that much harder.
Yes.
Yep. I call it checking the pulse.
There it is.
And you got to do that, because and it's not always the easiest thing for a lot of people, because a lot of people, you know, like in Germaine and Tanya can attest to this. We may not have always known to do that.
Right.
You know, we had over time, we realized that that's the, you know, that's how it should be done. But when we were going through, who knew? We wasn't taught this stuff.
And that's why, look, that's why 30 plus years later, we on this podcast.
That's right. That's right. That's right.
My name is Germaine.
I don't know.
I'm a recovering relationship-aholic. Yes. You know what I'm saying? Let's keep it real.
Yeah.
But I don't know if Germaine know this, but I was married for 17 years.
All right now.
Yeah, I was married for 17 years.
Okay.
And so he got me young. I'm not going to lie. And just piggybacking off of what you talked about, really about time I came into all of this, and this is a lot. It's like his whole attitude started being, she don't need me no more. And I was like, excuse me? Yes, I do. But I could just see it. She don't need me no more, or she don't ask for much no more. And I'm just like, okay, so when do we get to the level where it's like, look, we a team, we could do this thing that it never came. It was more like you got your own thing. And you know, it seemed like there's no space in your life for me no more. And that was far from the truth. But I could not convince them. It was almost like this. It was almost like, was now that you are successful on this level, there's a certain type of quality of man that I think you're going to look for. And I'm confused, because I'm like, no, I'm still with who I want to be with. So it didn't work out. I mean, we divorced as friends, but at the end of the day, I was just like, wow. I was really like, okay, so sometimes I feel like, me personally, you can actually grow out or mature quicker than another person. And that's actually what I did. Because see, the very thing that you promoted and supported me on to become this, when I became this, now you want to smother it. Now you want to know. And then I'm getting accused of things that I'm not doing. So I'm like, you know what? We're not going to have this conversation, because I know what I'm doing. I know what I'm not doing. But you're not going to say that I'm out doing X, Y, Z, and I know I'm not. So we do grow. And I think we have to give each other enough room to grow. But it goes back to what you said. Let's have that talk. We're not talking.
And on that particular topic of the man feeling like he's not needed, like that's huge. And a lot of us feel like that's the paramount reason why we're in a relationship, is that we feel like we're needed to be a certain, role in the house. And now, like I always say on my show, this is a different type of era we living in now. Women are doing the damn thing, and you got to respect that. And with the term that I use, and I don't even know if it's really a term, but we always talk about women emasculating us, but sometimes we emasculate ourselves inside our own head. And we put that on you, that we feel that way, and we almost make it seem like you're making us feel that way, but there's no evidence to support that. You know what I mean?
Since you said that, because this could be a teachable moment for us. How someone like me who is doing her thing. First of all, let me say this. I don't care what woman on this planet don't agree. It don't matter. We need y'all, period. Not just for in the bed. We need y'all, because guess what? Y'all balance us. Y'all balance us because we have a whole bunch of emotion. We need that logic part. We need that masculine part to become a whole. But let me ask y'all a question, because Derek, you said what you just said. So that when you identify as a man that, okay, I've actually emasculated myself, how could someone like me or your spouse help support you into being back on that level? Is there something that we can do to help you guys with that, or is it just on y'all end?
So I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna say it depends on his level of transparency with himself.
Yep.
So
y'all in here tonight.
No. So the thing is, like, it goes back to gender roles. So what Derek just said is key, because, and teaching high school, this is a conversation that comes up in the minds of some of the teenagers is, what type of relationship do you want when you become an adult, when you get married, right? So a lot of us, we grew up in a more traditional setting. Things are changing. The environment, the social construct is changing. And so now those expectations change as well. So the question becomes, what does that look like on a practical level in a house? And a lot of times these conversations are not being had prior to. Now we're having it once we're in there. And I thought you was going to do this, and now you're doing that, but what's that? And so now we're arguing, but we never really had any type of conversation before we got married. And so I think, like, the whole protect and provide piece becomes part of a lot of men's mantra of being a man. And let's be honest, is in some situations, the female is providing more. So then what does that do, right? How do you feel if she's making more than you and you're making less? And most women, and I was in that situation, and I didn't really feel as though I was emasculated by the money she made. But when it comes to decision making, sometimes that comes out. How do you decide decisions in the household? That becomes an issue. So I think it's a practical thing between the two people in terms of meshing, in terms of what they say, can two walk together unless they agree? Like, if we're not agreeing, then we roommates. And I think that's where the other side of what Derek said comes into play, where a man wants to be a man.
Exactly.
But just because you may not be making the most money in the house doesn't mean that you're not a man.
Okay.
Right.
Unless you tell yourself that.
Oh,
exactly.
Okay. You just okay. So is it safe to say, because I don't feel like he's not a man or less than a man if I'm making more money? I feel like it's ours. So I feel like he still should be like, I'm up here, because where I kind of fall short,
It's the conditioning. It's the conditioning of how we was taught and raised.
I'm gonna ask you this. I'm gonna ask you both this question. I said this the other day. In business, if we was partners, who would be in charge of the money?
The person who's the best with the money.
So in some relationships, that's not how it's decided.
It's not.
So some people
say I make the most money.
Whoever make the most money is in charge, or whoever the man is. So the thing is, you can make the most money, but it doesn't necessarily mean you're the best with the money.
No, you're not.
But again, if you're in a relationship and y'all not being honest, I think I've been to several marriage conferences, and they talk about most couples fall into one or two categories. One's a spender, and one's a saver, and then you gotta have that conversation because that will always cause some slight conflict. Same thing in all relationships. You tend to fall on one or two sides, and again, we coming back to the same word. We gotta be able to have a conversation, compromise, so we can move forward together.
Exactly. Yeah, and what I always tell people, and you guys already know this, but because of hindsight, but 99.9% of all of this could be handled just by communicating and being transparent and open early. I always emphasize the word early. If you get it in early, when that little thing, that bump in the road comes, you be like, yeah, remember we had that conversation. Yeah, you are a spender. So this will we gonna give you this little bit of money over here so you can get a little bit of that off. But we still got this goal in the middle because I know that's a part of who you are. I don't expect for you to change your whole character for me. But instead of you getting, 2,000 pair of shoes, you might get 1,000.
See, that's why I work for myself. I need 3,000. I'm sorry.
And that's the compromise. It's about compromise. You got to meet somewhere in the middle, because the unfortunate thing about a lot of us is when we get into relationships, we expect the other person to react and do things the way we would do it. And we don't even have that conversation. So like if I react or I spend a certain way, I expect for you to mold to that because that's the way I am. And then when you don't, I'm mad at you because you're not me.
But you know what? You said something that was very key. And let's just be realistic here, guys. You said, let's have that conversation early. Do you know how many women and men would run the fuck away if we had that conversation early?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Let's just be real, y'all. Come on.
Absolutely.
If you knew that I buy a certain amount of shoes, no, but serious. Early on, if we have certain conversation, you'd be like, bye.
Oh yeah,
men and women.
Oh yeah.
So we got.
Now I'm gonna start something. I don't think that most men don't have a problem having a conversation. I think most men have a problem being heard.
Ooh, well, let's go right in there. Let's stay right in there.
So I think that, and I don't know how many people watching, but I think on both sides, I think people will say that they feel as though when they bring an issue up with their mate, male or female, that they're not completely heard and understood based on the issue that they're trying to broach. Because, example, I want to know why you late tonight. And you say, well, I want to know why you left your drawers on the floor. No. I want to know why you was late for the meeting. No, you left your drawers on the floor. Let's talk about why you left. So now it's two different issues. We never get to one because you deflecting with another issue. So if we're not going to fight fair, if I'm not going to hear you out, if I'm not going to get defensive when you come at me, hey, you know what? We need to talk. Then you go like,
oh yeah.
Oh Lord.
When it start with we need to talk,
just had a conversation.
Nothing good come from behind that ever.
Okay, look, y'all. Look, because we know that, I'm just laughing because the way y'all look, that's how my ex looked when I said that. So I'm just but anyway, so let's do this, guys. Let's give them another way to say that. Because that right there has such a negative everything on it. How can we approach it different? How can we say, let's have that, we need to talk. How can we say that different so that it's received a little softer?
So what I had to learn was I was a right then, right now person. So as soon as I found out that there was a situation, I would get elevated emotionally. And no, we're going to talk about this right now. I don't care what's going on. Let's stop. We could be in a restaurant. Oh, we're going to talk about this right now. I had to learn that that's not always the best time and place.
Yeah.
So waiting a couple days,
yes,
to let everybody calm down, and you come back and say, hey, do you have space to have emotional, mental space to have a conversation? No, I had a crazy day at work. Tomorrow, check with me tomorrow, right?
Exactly.
I wasn't doing that.
Exactly.
And then I would elevate, and then my mate would elevate because I was elevating.
And nothing solved.
When I started to do that, I started to get a better result. Now, for me, I say this the other day because women are verbal ninjas. I say this all the time, right? I had to write down my issues on a piece of paper when I went to the conversation, because too many times when I would get in that conversation, I would walk away and I didn't say anything that I wanted to say because, they would start talking about stuff from last week, last month, last year. And then next thing you know, we on topic C, but we supposed to be on topic A.
Exactly.
Right.
Yep. Y'all going to spend an hour on 2015.
Well, you know what? You said something that was very key, Germaine. You said something that was very key. And you said, you, first of all, you was up in your emotions. That's the number one key. Do a body scan, y'all. Find out where you are emotionally. Because if you all the way up here, that's what's going to come out. You're not going to speak in kindness or love. You are going to say something that's going to cut. You already know it. So, but you said a key word. You said, I want to talk about this, but then she comes back with your drawers was in the floor. That sounds like two children.
Yeah.
I think that's another problem. Sometimes we convert back into the little girl or the little boy, and there's no adults in the room. And see, that's so critical, especially when you have your children, because they are now paying attention to how two adults are supposed to basically communicate.
Right.
And they see you act just like them, right. Nobody wins. And then if you got this thing, and ladies, I'm gonna say this to you: if you got this thing that you want to be right, I'm gonna tell you, I have experienced that. Getting my point across, wanting to be right with the neck roll, and I feel dumb as hell after he said, yeah, you're right. Now what? It's stupid. It is so stupid. Because I'm not gonna lie. I mean, now that I know how to fight fair, because I'm looking at a reward at the end. I don't know about nobody else, but I'm trying to get an award at the end. So you're right. Having enough respect to say, you know what? I'm all the way up here. And I know if I say anything about any topic right now, it's going to be aimed to hurt her, or it's going to be aimed to hurt him. So let's go ahead and chill, and let's focus on something else, and let's come back to this.
Yeah, because I always say, and it could be said in different ways, but I always say when a man says something like you got it, or, we good, that means you're not going to get the information at that point. He shut down because he don't even feel like he got the space to even. He be like, you got it. Let's just go ahead and move on to the next thing. You're not going to get the real how he feels when he says that on the inside. He got to tuck that in now because he doesn't have the safe space to.
So when he's flowing in that, what is a way that we can actually kind of help you come back out? What is something that we could do? Should we leave it alone?
So most times when men shut down, right? Men shut down for a couple reasons. Like when you get into a conflict with your woman, a lot of times you'll walk into a room and then they'll verbally attack you. And you like, what the hell going on? I don't even know what I did, what I do. And there's so many things coming at you so fast, you're trying to process. And I think sometimes, and I'm just going to be real for me, I'm not as fast. mentally as some of the women that I dealt with. So I needed time to process what they were saying. Then I come back and I can give them an explanation. But if I was moving too slow, right, then they'll start to interject, well, you know what you did, or you know what this was. And now you get frustrated because you're really trying to tell them, but you don't communicate at that level that they communicate. I think Deron said, you know, ladies are like FM and men are like on AM. So there's some translation sometimes because we're not, as a little boy, we were told to suck it up.
Yes.
We're not as equipped to communicate through our emotions as females are. So it takes us a little longer. So when you see us shut down, sometimes giving us that space, and I use this analogy, female, now I'm gonna say this slowly because I don't want to get in trouble. Females are dogs and men are cats. Here's what I mean by that, ladies and gentlemen. I'm saying it real slow because I don't want to get in trouble. Females, dogs are confronters. So when a dog sees you, you come in the house, they want to greet you, they want to love on you, they want to make sure everything is okay. When females find out that something's wrong, they're going to confront you in the moment because they want to make sure that the relationship is in good standing. Men are like cats emotionally. Sometimes we feeling you and sometimes we not. So the thing is, when you verbally or emotionally come at a man real fast, like a cat, he'll back up because he like, what's going on? And then if you keep coming at a cat, he'll run. But if you put a man in a corner, or you put a cat in a corner, then he'll come at you.
Yeah.
Right? And so I think it's just understanding what those cues are between the genders in terms of how they handle emotional stress. And then you give each other the space you need. And then, like you said, when the emotions come down, we can come on common ground and we can have a conversation.
Well, you know what? I'm glad that you said that, but I'm gonna tell you something, and I'm gonna go ahead and get a little spiritual. I have to say this, but I really believe that when you don't give your own personal self grace, I can't give it to you. And so my 9 times out of 10, when you don't have that space for yourself, because everybody make mistakes. When you don't have that grace space, you're not looking to say, okay, wait a minute, let me find out. You said a key thing, Germaine. You on a different frequency. I want to get my point across so bad that I'm not even checking. Okay, wait a minute. That's not my man. That's not his tone. He a little upset. Let me back off. See, we not checking for that. Now, a grown woman, let's just be honest, a grown woman would take that. She will be able to say, okay, is this the right time to even bring this up? Or how am I approaching him when I see he's already on the edge a little bit? Should this be the time that I bring this up to him anyway?
Right.
So, and you gotta start with grace. Cause see, my thing is this: don't dish out nothing that you can't take. If you can't handle it, don't give it out.
So
it's going to come back.
So, like when I hear you say that, I think of this, right? Do I want to be heard or do I want to be understood?
Exactly.
Right. So when I'm venting, so a lot of times when I get emotional, I have to go off by myself and vent of the initial response to the situation. Right. Then I calm down a little bit. Then I can start talking to myself in truth. Right. Start asking myself truthful questions. Did they really mean to do this? Am I tripping? This, that, and the other. And then I calm myself down. And then before I approach them, now I'm coming at a calmer level. So the conversation when you're venting or want to be heard is I.
Yes.
Versus when you want to be understood. Well, how can I say this to Derek? Well, he will understand
exactly
what I'm trying to say. So I might have to use some different words that seem to take the conversation a little longer to get out. But it ain't about me because I know how I feel. I want him to understand. So I got to say it in a way that makes sense to him, which means I got to take more care because I'm thinking about who I'm talking to versus myself.
Exactly.
And that's 100%. Yeah.
100%. 100%. So because of that, I think it's very important for you to understand, as you said earlier, the 5 love languages. If you don't know what your love language is, please go get the book. Please take the test. It's free online. Go take it. Because see, here's my thing, and I'm just going to be brutally honest, only because I have the pleasure of working with singles and couples. Here's what I see a lot of times happen. You could be a good dude, but then you get with a woman who's confused about her love language, and now you bipolar. I mean, come on. We got to stop ruining men, ladies. We do. I'm sorry, we do. That's what we do. And we got to take responsibility for that. We do. He a good dude, but because, and you know, this is the line that I hate, and I hear this all the time. You know, you just too good to be true. No, maybe God sent somebody your way to help you grow in this area because you so used to men hurting you. How about that? And then we don't know how to, I'm not even going to say stroke the ego because that has become so whatever. We really don't know how to spiritually discern what his need is at a certain time. We ain't taught that. And so we get on this page where, you know, a lot of, some women of color have an issue when they see brothers with other cultures or other type of women. Have you ever stopped to think, what is it or why are they there? Have you ever? And most likely, they're a little bit more softer. They're a little bit more welcoming. They're a little bit more understanding. And I come from on both parents' sides, mother and father, strong Black women. So when you understand that vulnerability is really your power and you master that, you can then tap into, okay, wait, I'm feeling a little some type of way for my mate right now. Let me check in. Let me see what's going on with him. Because at the end of the day, is you really have a spiritual connection. You really have a spiritual connection. And then a lot of times, you know, we got to be honest with our intentions. What's the end? What is the end goal? What do I want to get from this? What do I want to receive? What do I want him to receive? Because if if it's all about balance and you want to be right, how many times you want to be right? Let me tell you something. I learned a long time ago. Being right, it don't pay no bills. I cannot go to the bank and put that in my account. So it don't work for me no more. It don't work.
Yeah, the emotional intelligence is like the biggest thing. It's the easiest and the hardest thing. Just like communication. We're so selfish sometimes about what we want. And this is just piggybacking on what everybody said, that we forget that there's not only another person, but there's a different person.
Exactly.
Male or female. And because they're different, there's going to be some things you're going to have to concede in order to meet in the middle. And a lot of people are so sure, and so I'm this, and I'm the head of the household, or I'm making the money, or I'm doing this. You don't even give a damn about how the other person feel, because you playing your quote unquote position, and people don't realize when they like this. What I was saying, and you guys have heard this before. They talk, oh, it's 50-50, and you do your 50, and I'm like, no, sometimes it's 80-20. Then it morphs into 70-30. Then it morphs into 50-50, and you got to be able to roll with the punches because everybody ain't up all the time. Sometimes you're going to be down. Other person might be up, and that's your partner, and it's okay. It's okay. It's okay.
That's what I meant by spiritually checking in to say, wait a minute, my boo is not flowing how he normally flow. That's what I mean by that, Derek. That's what I mean by that.
Well, let me ask you a question, Miss Unorthodoc. Right? You the female, right? So all of what you said, when it comes to dating, right? What role do women play in this dating game now with the roles changing? So most of us men have been taught that everything, the onus is on us. And so, is that still applicable in today's society?
Okay, so see, you done asked the wrong person that, because I got a dating course on that. First of all, I am not someone who goes with what society say about anything. That's the first thing.
All right.
I date multiple men. Let's not get it twisted. I didn't say I sleep with multiple men. I said I date multiple men.
Right.
Here's what I'm going to say. You got to find out what works for you. Now, if I'm dating, I'm going to go from a spiritual standpoint, because I told y'all we date in the spiritual realm before the person shows up physically. What am I attracted to me? Most of the men that are attracted to me, most of them are going to pay for everything. That's just what they're going to do. Now, do I offer? Yes, I do. I do. That's just me. Now, I wouldn't put that on any of my clients that I work with, but I will say this: you got to find out what's your playing field, what's your handbook. Everything ain't for everybody. My thing is this: I'm not looking to get married right now, so I'm having fun in dating the 3 guys that I date. Do they know about each other? Yes, they do. Because my thing is, my intentions is not to get a title from him. We're dating. So if I saw him out in these streets with somebody, do you think I'm gonna be texting him talking about, what you doing? No, I'm not. Hey, how you doing? But once again,
you're a unicorn.
Hey, look,
No, it's called maturity. I'm just saying, it's called maturity. And I feel like this is how I feel. I feel like, because see, I really believe that men and women, we go through phases. There's a phase where it's infatuation. You love the fact of meeting somebody. 30 to 90 days, you like the infatuation stage. If you know that's you, guess what? There's no deception on either end. Why? Because you like the fact of meeting people. Then you get to a place where you say, okay, well, I'm tired of dating. I want to go, I want to be exclusive. But do you have a variety of wholesome or healthy men to say, okay, you know what? I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to deal with this one from that standpoint now, because I want something serious. I got something I have several to choose from. You get what I'm saying? So to answer your
it's
question,
cool. And the cool thing about what you said is, and you was forthright and honest about what you're doing, and they have a right to accept or not accept that situation. And I think that's, I mean, if
but
you,
here's the thing.
what's the
Here's
problem?
the thing, Germaine. Here's the thing. Because I'm clear that that's what I'm looking for, those are the type of men that attract to me.
Yeah.
We're not going to have a conversation about commitment. Why? Because that's not what I'm looking for. Do you get what I'm saying? So
Right.
women will lie and say, no, I'm good. And then y'all have a one-night stand. Now you talking about y'all in a relationship. No, you're lying to yourself. It was a one-night stand. Be real with what it was. No, he caught you at a good night and you was hot and y'all did it. No, y'all not in a relationship. Let's stop. We too grown. We too grown for this.
I'm not touching that one.
Yeah. So after you have that one night standing, you gotta answer the question: what are we?
The same thing that we were.
Right.
Before.
I know. I'm joking. But yeah, that's.
But it's not a joke though, because some people attach that with a different level of commitment, though, right? Yeah. So you be joking, but there are some who attach commitment with sexual activity.
Okay, well, see, they need to stop lying on their vagina, because if they were so committed, they wouldn't give it up. I'm a sip to that.
Oh, there it is.
I ain't got nothing to sip on.
Stop playing. Stop. Women, we stop playing. You so committed, but you giving it up the one night stands. Really? Stop playing. Oh, wait. My bad. You're probably the kind that do the Steve Harvey thing. You're gonna wait 90 days. He still ain't gonna be with you after he hit it, whether it's 30 or the first night or 90 days. Stop lying to yourself. You're lying to yourself. Period. And we need to stop playing those childish games. Period.
So I'll say this. It's in the book, or I think I was at a seminar with the guy from the 5 love languages years ago. And I'll tie it into this. I'll say this. I think if you are in, I don't know, with your situation, I don't know if this would be applicable, but I think if you married or you're in an exclusive relationship, I would highly encourage women to do one or two things. One, I would encourage you to take your man on a date and you pay for everything, and he don't got nothing.
I agree.
I think it will shock him that you will put that much time, energy, and effort to doing something for him, right? That's one. Or from the book, what he said was, when you was going back to your other topic, he said one of the things is most husbands or men in the house are very underappreciated, right? So going to that last love language, which is words of affirmation. A lot of times what happens is that men, and I'll say it this way, most times when you get into an argument with a man, the first thing he's going to do is start telling you all the stuff he did right.
Yeah.
Because we judge ourselves based on our activity. So the thing is, if I'm doing something good around the house, every once in a while, hey, I appreciate the fact that you pay the mortgage, or I appreciate the fact that you always got my car fixed, or I appreciate the fact that when I need this, you always go without asking. Sometimes those little things go a long way to, as they say, putting deposits in the love bank, right? I think that's something he mentioned as well, is talking about deposits worth versus withdrawals, right? So just positive words, right, mean a lot, ladies. So if you got a man at home who watches sports, or he playing his video games, it's because the video games and the sports give him positive affirmation. So if you want to put that down, you might want to say some positive things to him.
You know what? I'm gonna piggyback off what you said, because here's the other thing, and I can only talk about how I grew up. Most women of color are not taught how to appreciate you. We're not. We can see, this is the thing. I say it's 80-20. You got an 80% dude. 80% he on everything. But that little 20%, like the trash or something on the floor, whatever, you will blow all of that out of proportion.
Right.
But there's a young lady on her knees praying for the 80%. So you better be careful, because you might attract your man to her. Ladies, learn how to appreciate your men. But here's another thing. If you're dealing with some self-esteem issues, you can't. You can't. Because you gotta have a certain level of self-love for yourself to even recognize, you know what, my man is and that's another thing. I don't know when this stopped, but back in the day, we used to brag about our men. We'd get in certain circles and certain parties and stuff, and we'll talk about, the different things that our man has done, even if they small or big. So ladies, look, learn how to not only appreciate your man, blow up what he do. Shit, if you take the damn trash out 10 times straight, wherever that trash can is, sit your ass there naked for him when he come back in the house. Like, come on, do something to say, boo, I got you. Like I got you. We don't do that.
Let me get something for the ladies, because we've been talking about what the ladies need to do. So guys, what I had to learn was a lot of females are quality time or acts of service or gifts. So quality time is like spending time with them. At the end of the day, having a conversation, how was your day? And asking them what was going on with their day, and listening to the office gossip, or what you do. Oh, for real? Wow, you handled that great. What I had to learn was, when a woman asked me about my day, she wasn't checking me because she don't trust me. That's how she learns who I am as a man. So I got to give her that conversation, right? Because females connect through face-to-face verbal conversations. Men connect through shoulder-to-shoulder bonding time. So a lot of the men events, sports or whatever, we're sitting shoulder-to-shoulder. A lot of things that the women like to do is face-to-face. So we got to come out of ourselves to give the other person what they need, even though it may not make sense to us. Like, I still don't really understand why I gotta get you some dead flowers, but if that makes you happy, I'm gonna do that. because that's what you like.
Come in the room naked, like keep the flap, like anyway.
So real quick, I hate to do this.
We need
I'm gonna ask you guys a question. Are y'all free to do the part 2 to this within the next 48 hours?
Yeah,
I am.
Okay. So are y'all game to do it tomorrow? Same time?
I am.
Okay, cool. So everybody, we're gonna do this. We're gonna do part 2 tomorrow because we got some stuff we probably didn't cover. Because I know Talia probably has some other topics we didn't even get nowhere near. So we're gonna do part 2 because I think this was good. I think a lot of people are like chiming in and all of that good stuff. And normally, I will let people like ask questions at the end, but we're gonna save some space for some Q&A tomorrow.
Okay.
Because I got to go on another show that starts at 9:00, and they texting me right now, so I got to make sure that I get that in too.
Yes.
But tomorrow we're gonna do part 2. We're gonna talk about some different things, and then we'll allow some interaction with the audience, so that people, because we all go through a lot of the same things. So I like to I see people sharing. So what I'm gonna do is we're gonna stop the podcast portion. I'm gonna give like 2 minutes just to acknowledge some folks on the side, and then we're gonna get out of here and we're gonna do part 2 to this tomorrow. So on that note, I thank you, Germaine and Tanya, for coming and hanging out, and we're gonna do this again tomorrow. So I'm not gonna give you the normal farewell because we're gonna see y'all tomorrow. So we're gonna do this again tomorrow, and I thank everybody who has chimed in and listened in, especially on the replay. And the words I always like to tell people, just to piggyback on what Germaine said, I appreciate you. That's sometimes you need to say that to people, right?
Yes.
So,
and look, we appreciate y'all stepping out on faith, man, to start this podcast, Derek and Tanya, to do the things that you're doing. It is inspiring more people than you realize. So I thank both of y'all for the faith walk that y'all on.
And we appreciate you for your input, because we all have gone through some things.
Yeah.
And being able to verbalize it intelligently and share and not argue and fight and all that stuff, that's golden, man. That's why I was like, when I saw y'all, was it yesterday? Monday. I was like, yeah, I'm gonna need to kidnap y'all and put y'all on the show, because
right. And that's just the first one.
So we're gonna do part 2 tomorrow, everybody. Thank you for coming out. God bless and good night.
Peace.
All right, podcast section is over. And so I'm just going to go through a few people that I see on the side: Michelle Ford, Natasha Davenport, Alicia, from Facebook, Periscope, Lady CR2. Looks like it says Carla in parentheses. I know it's some other people on here. Hold on.
Wildcats was on there. I was looking at it on my phone.
Oh, yeah. Wildcats. Welcome. Thank y'all for coming out. I would sing the fight song, but my voice, my larynx a little.
No, you're not.
My frat brothers on here. Co-worker,
Elder Carmen King. Who else? I think that might be it. On Periscope, somebody called "Get You Some Money." Suchi from Periscope. Rob from Periscope. Okay. So thank you guys. We're gonna see all of y'all back tomorrow, right? 8 p.m. Same time, same place.
We're going on tour. Let's go.
I'm ready.
We can do that. That's the part.
Let's do it.
All right. Good night, everybody.
All right.
Peace.